Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is David. I'm going to make it a little brighter in here. Okay, so thank you for being here. This is a new, this video today is a new and exciting chapter in my r.e.a.l podcast. r.e.a.l stands for Removing Ego, Adding Light. That's all that I'm interested in. That's what I want to see on the planet. That's what I want to contribute to the planet in any way that I can. I always want to start by breathing, taking a few deep breaths. Join with me, please. Movement, whatever feels right. And I invite you into this beautiful space of content, peace. You belong here with me. Open your soul as I open mine. So thank you for being here today, guys. This is a new chapter, as I mentioned. I talk to spirit. I'm an intuitive person, and this was actually even before the red pill chapter that I've been working on and contributing to. This was the number one chapter I was given information by spirit. So it's August of 2020. You ready? Are you sitting down? What spirit wants me to talk about is guidance on the truth about extraterrestrials. And this video, if you're watching this today, this has a disclaimer. I have a disclaimer here that if you are somebody who has not broached this topic, or this is some new topic for you, I highly recommend you start with chapter 1 in the r.e.a.l podcast, which is helping those in 3D understand the real world, or the red pill, especially the video on remote viewing, because that was this is more or less elevated content that people will just not be able to register with otherwise, if they have a preconceived notion that aliens do not exist, or that they exist in certain forms but not others, or that, I have a skeptic's hat on always, but I've been to a point where I've had certain things happen that I cannot deny. Okay, so this is the first story in that chapter of guidance on the truth about extraterrestrials. So today the topic is the draco reptilians, something that you don't see in the media. You've never seen in the media mentioned under that name. You'll never hear corporate media use the term draco reptilians. But nevertheless, it is out there if you look. Okay, so this is an important topic for me. This is an important topic for us. So I've got a lot of content to get through because I try to keep the videos under around 30 minutes. So if you've seen the remote viewing video, if you understand that remote viewing is real, if you understand that many expert remote viewers who our government has hired and who have detected many things that have proven to be true, Russian assets, as an example, military assets that we were spying on through the remote viewing techniques, then you understand that one of the things that keeps coming up again and again, they are not the only species, but within this remote viewing expert community, as well as intuitives around the world, as well as native traditional societies around the world, as well as countries of the lore like China and England, is this direct species. You could think of them as a dragon, or I should also say, now in 2020, the 25, 30 plus secret space program whistleblowers who have come out and testified that this is the reality of the secret space program that the government has. The $21 trillion, not million, not billion, $1 trillion that are missing from the Department of Defense budget. Where did that money go? Okay, well, it went into the secret space program. Very clear on that. So anyway, suffice it to say, this is all said that the Draco reptilians are in fact a real extraterrestrial species that we are tied in with, that we are connected to. So I'm not going to really get into a whole lot of content on extraterrestrials in general or on other species because there's so much to dive into here. But this is one of the species that clearly we hear about again and again and again. Okay, what happened for me post my remote viewing phase when I was just learning? It was after Roswell. Roswell had been debunked in my mind. There were no extraterrestrials. And then I got into remote viewing and came to learn that most likely extraterrestrials were actually real. And in fact, they are not all benevolent. There are malevolent extraterrestrials. Not 100% certainty, but when you hear it enough times, it has to be 100% certainty because it's on enough cases over the long run that the percentages just would add up to that when you look at all of what I've told you. And I mentioned intuitives, so David Icke would be in that category, but he's the one that caught the pie in his face when he wrote the book some 15 or 20 years ago about the lizard people, that they don't exist and there's no fourth dimension and the Bible's talking about something else and all this. Anyway, after that phase of remote viewing, I went into myself, into my intuition, and I meditated during my lunch breaks and times like that. And at that point, for maybe really the first time ever in my life, I had opened up my belief, not in the certain existence of extraterrestrials, but I had opened up my thought pattern and perception to the possibility of existence of these beings, which is very interesting. And so when I did that and I meditated on that, I started to see these faces. They were very vague, but they were in something called my third eye, because my eyes were closed, and I saw them, and they were looking at me. And some of them were, they were different shapes. One of them had a head like E.T. One of them had like a praying mantis. A lot of people say they have in their dreams these praying under psychedelic mushroom trips or ayahuasca. They see the praying mantis clearly, more clearly than I did, but I saw that type of form. But they were looking at me. Now, under dream state, I also saw, I started to begin having low vibration reptilian oriented dreams. They had known that I knew about them, I believe, and they had started to enter into my dreams in a negative, like they carry a nasty, nasty energy to them. And so a lot of people are affected. If you could imagine, and somehow I just intuitively know this information, but it's also confirmed by other intuitives. But if you could imagine the time that you're filled with rage and hate and just pure anger, those are the times that you're carrying that. I'm trying to look to see if the camera is okay. It looks like it might be a little bright, so I'm going to try to change it just a little bit. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so those times when you're carrying a lot of rage, those are the times where you really have that reptilian energy. I can tell you that because I've felt them in my dreams. It's a very negative feeling and vibration. Low. They do not like us, the Draco reptilians. So only before I woke up, that was the only time. So if I'm in a deep sleep, we are on such a high vibration, they can never enter in. But I'm only on during the times when I'm about to fall asleep or about to wake up, when we fall from different brain waves, from beta to alpha they can get into your consciousness. And a lot of people say, in traditional societies say, when you sleep, you don't want to just sleep like this. You want to, somehow cross your arms or your legs to prevent that. And we really are open to receiving a lot of this negativity. I really don't, I know how, this is a year later now, and I know how I've just grown so much spiritually to be on a high vibration, to not let any of those negative influences or factors enter into me. And in fact, if you look at the Bible, if you look at a lot of other traditional texts, manuscripts from around the world, you'll hear things like that, of be in a high vibration, be in a high frequency, be in good thoughts. Might not hear the words vibration or frequency in the olden texts, but be in positive energies in your heart, and they cannot enter into you. That's been my experience, because it feels like an anger vibration. Now, on the contrary, if you're angry, they can make you more angry, and you can feed into that, and they will bother you more and more and more, to the point where you might be afraid of these energies when you go to sleep at night, as a monster, or a child would be afraid of a monster. I don't know why. I don't know why that was the point. The only thing I can think of was that was the point in my life in which I had opened up to possibility that there was an existence. Now, here's the thing I will tell you. If you're in a low vibration, reptilians will know what you're thinking about. They can read your mind. But if you're in a high vibration, they won't be able to access any of your information. This is a reality. So even though we can't walk around in our earth and see these, because they exist in a fourth dimension, as David Icke and Corey Good. David Icke is an intuitive. Other intuitives say the same thing. Thousands of them. You've got your remote viewers who have seen them. You've got several of those. But then you've got the secret space community, as I mentioned, of 30 plus whistleblowers, Corey Good, Emory Smith, and these are now commonplace in our collective awareness and consciousness. They're just not on the corporate media, and there's a reason why, I can tell you. Okay, now, as Corey Good presented, and I'll definitely pin a link to Corey's video. There was something that happened to me exactly a year ago in August of 2019. I was in a semi-dream state. I was on the way towards taking a nap in the afternoon. I was in San Antonio in the dream, and it was Mi Tierra, Mexican restaurant, and there were these beautiful Hispanic girls that were passing by. And as each girl passed by, I thought, wow, she's so beautiful. Oh, the next one, oh, she's pretty, she's beautiful. And I was just enjoying my dream. All of a sudden, there was another one, only this one had this kind of look on her face. Now, as she walked along, she slowly changed and transformed into this white reptilian. And she was up above me. I was looking up and it was a male, turned into a male, shape shifted into this white dragon like being. And he came down and he tried to take a bite out of my head. I was waking up at that point, and I don't care who you are. I do not let anybody intimidate me, or I'm not going to be afraid. So I sent whatever spiritual energy I could to push him off, get him the hell out of there, and I woke up. That was the end of that. Because I'm not going to be messed with. So the interesting thing there is, when I had seen Corey Goode's video, now this might be the other thing that why they started appearing, is because around that time I was also open to it from watching Corey Goode's content and others' content. But if you look at the video of Corey Goode's meeting with the royal white draco, who are the leaders of the dracos, it was the exact same being. Now, here's what's very interesting. If you look at the video, Corey Goode says, or the image that I'll link to this under the description, is a pure white being. But when they came across into my dream, they're more like a pale white color, like this tape right here. You can see that it's not exactly white. It's kind of off-white, like a dirty white kind of thing. So it wasn't exactly, the being looked the same, but the color was a little off. It was like a pasty white, or like a creamy white, kind of like oatmeal almost. And then a couple months later, I hear Corey Goode talking about the royal white dracos, and he says, yeah, I got to get with my CGI guy, because he got the drawing really good. It looks nice, but it's the wrong color white. They actually have more like a dirty, beigey kind of white color. And I was like, well, I saw that guy. But the energy that he carried was so much hatred and animosity toward me, that he wanted to eat me and have me fear him. That's the energy that I got there. So now, if you're on a lower vibration, some energies can come through periodically that can affect you. And so you need to know about those. Okay, so in the remaining time we've got, and we might go a little bit long today because I really want to get through this so it can be helpful to people. And if you're not open to receiving this information, then don't continue listening. So this is what I got on Draco reptilians when I talk to Spirit. Many are being snuffed out of this planet. They do have galactic places to go, such as Mars, but they are not in alignment to get there without a fight. This is a behind-the-scenes battle. Escape is what they want to do and what they've been prevented from doing. They are no longer in control of the area beneath the earth. They are having a very difficult time, and energetically they're relying on food stores that are depleting time and time again. They rely on stored energy from planet Earth, and you're not giving it to them anymore in the quantities that they need. That's our negative emotions. They feed on that. It's called loosh. There's becoming an imbalance. We don't know what time will tell for this species, but they are malevolent. They can either fight you to the death or drop it like a hot coal. There are sages of wisdom among them who are still malevolent but are wiser. They tend to be the very oldest with the knowledge of history. These are the people who foretold warnings to you out of the goodness of their heart. They are outnumbered. We don't recommend, now listen to this, guys. We don't recommend ever trying to work with them, as the masses will try to manipulate you down a terrible path. They almost cannot help themselves in their level of bad judgment because they are that evil, as controlled by their multiple layers of overlords. You cannot easily climb that fence. So my recommendation as an intuitive, do not ever try to work with Draco reptilians. Do not ever try to give them an inch. They will take a mile. But here's what you can do, in my opinion. Do what you want to do. But this is what I've been told. What you can do with the guidance of your spiritual family is to control every element of your being to demonstrate love and understanding. It is truly transformative. Imagine an actual being existing on the other side with great suffering, not knowing if they will have a future. That is now the case. These Draco reptilians don't know if their species is going to be able to survive. So we can have love and compassion for them. This is nothing to do with Alpha Draconis, but only the ones stuck here. They all wanted out because they knew this day was coming. And so lift the energy and vibration of love for these beings into the room. They are on the decline. You can send love, but mainly focus on your own path. They've made their spiritual bed, and now they must lie in it. Now, here's another thing I got on Draco souls. Human souls can be captured into Draco soul energy, and the next incarnation will be that of Draco. But here's the thing. The surface wants to do something that the higher self doesn't. These Draco souls have no leverage on where they reincarnate into, so they continue to live and grow and walk among humanity, though they are foremost a Draco being deep down, and they cannot live in that Draco experience of death, cruelty, and torture without great consequence on your planet. Many prisoners, people who torture children, etc., are simply Draco souls who've incarnated on your planet and have a very painful life to sort out. They will not survive for long without reaching for that spiritual food. Always, this is one of the best messages I've ever gotten. It says, always starve surface Draco energy and feed Draco soul energy. That is through love and forgiveness. So if you have the energy of in yourself, this requires you to take responsibility for yourself, me to take responsibility for myself. If you have negativity, anger, fear, those low vibration energies, then you're feeding Draco energy. If you have love in your heart, then you're starving Draco energy. But it's the opposite with the Draco soul energy. In other words, when you have love in your heart, in a way, you're teaching the Draco how to have love in their heart. And if you, and you're starving the negativity from the Draco soul energy. So that's been very powerful for me to understand that. Okay, so I'm going to see if I have anything, and I know that's a little bit crazy. I don't think I've talked about souls, Draco souls that I have to tell you, after being with the feeling the Draco energies and then going about my day-to-day life, I've seen people and I can spot them and say, yes, that's a Draco soul. They are just purely different than the loving energy. And if you want to know what those energies are on the planet of somebody, for example, who is not a Draco, you could look at somebody maybe like Elton John, definitely Rod Stewart, somebody like that, Jimmy Buffett. That's the opposite of the Draco energy. Somebody that can laugh and smile and have love. So the contrary to that, I'll keep tabs on that and probably come up with someone. So here's another message. This one was back in April. What you have experienced on your planet is a mass confusion of intentional lowered vibrations. This is being conducted like an evil symphony. You must first understand that Draco terminology is much different than your own. They consider a star to be a polarity shifter and are working on a grand scheme to realign the entire cosmos. Their subterfuge has largely been successful on planet Earth, but the writing is on the wall. They will be stopped once and for all on your planet. Depending on which Earth plane you enter into will determine your reality. As you, talking about me specifically, as you are on a 5D timeline, there will be a salty but clear path to that reality, and once there, you will be uncorruptible. That's talking about the new Earth. There will not be Draco influences on the new Earth. There's a totally different vibration that will be inhabited there where they cannot coexist. On the 3D Earth plane, however, that is still being played out as we speak. There are a range of timelines that could unfold, but humanity must understand this is a spiritual battle of consciousness. The more who raise their consciousness, the more who enter the 5D planet Earth. And that process will largely dissolve Draco energy on this 3D planet. What would maintain Draco is if the society stays in a low vibration, but this is not realistic. There will be some who do, but many will rise. As to the question of Draco influence world leaders, David Icke stands true to his gospel of intuition. The 13 royal bloodlines are reptilian in nature. You must understand the deception to process it fully. We can tell you that the mark of the beast shows their ownership over you and your continued subservience to them. You cannot prevail over them without wise counsel. And listen, guys, you need the uncorruptible fortitude as Icke has. Now listen to this. Listen to this. Please listen. To be deluded with visions on personal grandeur, such as wealth, status, privilege, is and always has been a death sentence on your planet. The ego. The ego is a death sentence. It will kill you. It will destroy you. Your ego, your goals of personal grandeur, your service to yourself over your service to others. It will lead to failure for yourselves and failure for your families. You must become the uncorruptible light, true to your essence, casting away all shadows of negativity. Many are here now to help you on that journey. Whew, it's getting hot in here. And then I got this on, speaking of getting hot, talking about the royal family in England. The Queen Mother is already in hiding. Understand that she doesn't need to be protected any longer. The game is up. The Queen Mother, the Queen of England, is a reptilian consciousness. Or a reptilian walk-in soul, or a reptilian shapeshifter. And I know I haven't talked about shapeshifters yet, but as the process has unfolded of red pilling, it has been very difficult for me, because my mind, as I mentioned in my remote viewing video, my mind went blank, and I could not go there when I heard the concept from Ingo Swann of the being that was in the grocery store that was a human, looked like a human on the surface, but when he was close to her, his hair stood up on the back of his neck, kind of like mine did when I was in San Antonio, and I felt like I was near a house that had child sex trafficking going on. That hair, that spidey sense, that hair that's on the back of your neck that stands up, and he just intuitively know, because with intuition you just know that that person was an alien, a malevolent alien. So yeah, it's hard, and my mind did not go there, that this would happen. So it is with hours and hours and hours of watching people talk about these beings. The Arizona Wilder David Icke interview, I would suggest Secret space whistleblowers, there's thousands of hours of testimony and coverage now. It is one of the scariest things on the planet. I understand that. I understand that. Looking at George Bush Sr.'s eyes, you can see those for yourself and make your own decisions. Why does the eye do that? Why does it make a noise? A lot of the other stuff is misleading by intention, or just people wanting, hits on their channel. Very misleading, talking about anytime I see something that says lizard people, I'm immediately suspicious, because that's not what they're called. They actually have a name. You will never this isn't my intuition talking. I'm not bullshitting anymore on planet Earth. We are too fucking far along to bullshit. This is serious shit, man. We need to get busy. You will never hear a secret space whistleblower. You will never hear, you never really hear an intuitive, and you will never hear, who else? Yeah, you will never hear them. You will never hear a remote viewer who used to work for the government call someone a lizard person. You will hear them use the term draco reptilian. So just keep that in mind. But the shape-shifting, it's the real deal. I believe. I don't know how, but I do believe that it exists. Sorry we're going a little long on this, but, Okay, so I think I'm good there. I think we've gotten through most of this. I just want to double check and see if there's anything else about the Draco reptilians before we wrap up. I don't think there is, but there could be. Really, I don't worry about these beings. A lot of people fear them once they learn about them, or think they might be in existence, that they fear them. Are these the beings, for example, that, one question I could see popping up is, well, are these the demons that are in the Bible? Are these demonic entities, or are those something different? And actually, the truth, if you look at Arizona Wilder's testimony, is that the reptilians do not even have the ability to conjure demons. We humans have the potential to conjure demons, because we have the third eye. We have the ability to go high up in the vibration, so we can go into fifth dimensions. Remote viewing itself is not a third dimensional concept. So anyone doing that, gosh, I'm trying to get that sunlight out. Anybody doing remote viewing is far away from third dimension, and so you're above the level that a reptilian could do. Now, that being said, they do have certain powers that we don't have. Okay, so I talked through that one. Yeah, I think we're good to go. And I don't really know much more that I would say about reptilians. Certainly not to fear them. I guess the way I would end it is really to say that there are other reptilian beings, by the way, very few that I've been aware of, but the main ones that we deal with are the Draco reptilians, and one of the nastiest. But as I've gotten intuitive guidance, the ultimate goal is, if we can love them, then we are reaching our highest self, and the realization that they cannot harm us. That now, for those who are afraid, maybe you don't believe in God, maybe you think that there is a God, but if there is a God, why in the hell would he allow these nasty creatures to be here on Earth? And what I can tell you from my understanding is that, please understand that, yes, we are protected, and that the Dracos cannot just walk here and put a gun to our head or mind control, zap us to death. They're not allowed to do that. They must influence us from the shadows of their fourth dimensional abyss that they are locked into. Now, did I get that right? I'm not exactly sure. They are in the fourth dimension but you know, I still have a lot of learning to do and understanding. I can tell you that the Draco are in underground military bases, as I've mentioned. Dulce Base is the headquarters in New Mexico, at least for the United States. The Draco have worked. They do eat human flesh, and yeah, so it's a nasty story, but we don't need to fear. We're going to learn. We're going to know a lot more about these beings. We're going to know why as Joe Rogan was asking, why does every culture in the world have the dragon? What the hell is it with the dragon, and why every culture in the world has this dragon? And you know, let's see. Okay, so you know, that's really why. It's not that all dragons are Draco, but these beings have the ability to fly. Many of them are green. Most of them are green, and the Draco Royals are white, but they're limited in number, and they're the leadership. Now, in the negotiations that have taken place, where the Dracos have been negotiating with the Secret Space Program Alliance, what has gone down is they've been negotiating for terms with the Guardians. We have Guardians over our whole planet, over the whole solar system, right? They work with angelics, angels, and they are a high-level extraterrestrial species of always benevolent. The Draco are not even anywhere close to that, and you cannot get into the fifth dimension in a negative space, as David Wilcock has talked about. You have to be positive. And so, as the readings clearly mentioned, they have no path forward unless they change. We don't know if they're going to do that. They're highly influenced by artificial intelligence. So there's a whole lot there, you know, and I wanted to spend, you know, whatever this ends up being, 45 minutes giving you this, because it could save you from thousands of hours of research. Not that you'll believe everything, but hopefully little pinpoints, bits and pieces you can understand. You don't have to believe anything, but I really want to counsel people as though you're a friend and you don't know anything, but you want to learn, and you have, like all of us, limited time to understand what the hell's going on in the world. And you know, the coming into your dreams, the reading your minds, the being able to influence you negatively and feed off your emotions, the eating of the children, the you know, the I don't know, just trying to take over our planet, all of that, having underground bases, shape-shifting, the big one. All of those energies scare the living daylights out of us, in which we as humans approach our very important time in our spiritual growth and development, called the Dark Night of the Soul event, where we face our greatest fears. And once you face your greatest fears, for most people, or many people, that will be your Draco, but as one of the highest fears. But the biggest fear is yourself, in many cases. So, at any rate, when you reach your highest fear and you're able to stare it directly in the eye, you realize that it's really nothing to fear at all. And that's the same way with the Dracos, because as long as you stay on a high vibration, they cannot touch you. And I've been told clearly that you know, our guides, our angels, they love the Draco, and that they have served us. They have served us in our spiritual growth and development on the 3D planet, you know. But they're not going to, we don't need them anymore as long as we're growing and evolving spiritually. Now, if you're not growing and evolving spiritually, if you want to remain in 3D, if you, the new energies on the planet make you stir crazy and make you want to hate your neighbor, then you're really feeding into a lot of those reptilian energies and keeping them alive and around. And, hopefully this video sheds a little bit of light into that reality and what you can do about it. The deception is that our government and world leaders historically have worked with these beings in order to stay in power in their service to self mentalities, and have abandoned the service to others mentality. As things stand in 2020, that's as clear as day. Why does our government in the United States have $21 trillion missing that our government cannot explain to us, it's not accountable? Why are police officers choking residents in Australia just for not having a mask in outdoors? You're breathing air. That's a human right. That's a violation of your human right. So the Draco influence on this planet goes back millennia. It's way more than I can get into here, but I hope this is a good guidance to you on part of the problem and part of the solution, because the truth is, love conquers all. It really does. And we don't know what's going to happen with this species, but you can certainly see that I'm not afraid of them at all, and they have no future. We cannot help them. We can help them by having love for them. We don't need to fear them. We don't need to, be angry toward them. Although anger can certainly be. Listen, when people learn about these deep underground military bases and they become exposed, when people learn that reptilians are alive, they're going to be mad at reptilians. They're going to be mad at the old power structures on the planet that have given everything. They're going to be mad at the gray Zeta Reticuli species. They're going to be mad at a lot of people. But my consistent intuitive guidance is that the anger doesn't serve us in our own growth and spiritual development. These are difficult times that we're living in, but those times and those challenges, this spiritual growth and development will lead and can lead, once we learn our personal vision, to a world that is absolutely amazing. And David Icke summed it up beautifully when he said, "Fear is a four-letter word that has controlled humanity for millennia. Love is the four-letter word that can set it free." And the difference of living in fear and living in love result in planets that are so different that you can't even imagine. You can't even explain the difference there. So learn to live in love and harmony and peace, even for your enemies. Because the truth is, the Dracos have served us by dealing with so many difficult issues. We've grown spiritually, and can we learn to love ourselves, and can we learn to love our enemies? That helps us grow and become spiritually rich instead of spiritually homeless. So that being said, I believe love is the answer to the question of the reptilians on the planet, and it's going to get real. It's going to get very real once it's discovered what has been done to our children on this planet. And last thing I'll say, guys, the reptilians, as Arizona Wilder mentioned, how do the reptilians use us? They use humanity as their wishing well. So what they do through the media, they put out whatever their negative intentions are, and they put that out there, and then we create it, because our power of creation is so intense. We are such a massively creative species. What we visualize becomes reality, positively and negatively. So the reptilians have used us as their wishing wells, because they do not have that ability. And so, as David Icke said, the more we put fear out there, so the media puts out the fear porn, then we buy into it. Then that world goes this way. Now, if we put love out there, media, what's going to happen? And I am going to put this out there right freaking now. I don't care who watches this. It's out there. It's in the universe. Media puts out negativity. I buy into love. I keep my music channel on love. I keep my thought process on love. Oh, the sky's falling. No, I hear you. I'm listening, but I'm loving my neighbor, myself, my planet, Mother Earth. Now, what I'm putting out there, other people gravitate towards that love. And you can start small, but the oak tree starts small too, with the little acorn. And you can grow this planet into that world David Icke talks about. It's so drastically different, where these reptilians have no power. Any negative, malevolent species is just completely powerless. So, end it there, guys. Love you guys. Have a good day.